Hey, welcome leaders to the Lead Up Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Harbour, dedicated to equipping you to lead with purpose and passion. That's what I do every day. That's what I get up to do every day, is just to help you, the leader, get to that next level. Whether you're a CEO, an entrepreneur, a director, a VP, I don't care what level you're at, we all need to be growing. And that's what today's episode is all about. Episode 463 is growth on the goal, continuous improvement strategies for elite leaders. Have you ever met a leader who just seems to operate on a different level? They're not just managing, they're constantly evolving, learning, elevating everyone around them. Look, that's the true measure of leadership is, can you develop a leader that can develop another leader? Can you reproduce someone? Can you make everyone else better around you? I remember, I've worked with thousands of leaders, but I remember one hospital CEO I've worked with who, despite the schedule that would overwhelm most people, and look, if you lead in the healthcare industry, it's an overwhelming type of work, just constant schedule, especially at the executive level where there's, no committed schedule to a 6-hour, 7-hour, 8-hour day. It's often at the executive level, it's 10, 12-hour days on a regular basis. But I remember working with a CEO, and despite that schedule, he started every single day by reading 30 minutes every single day. No emails, but books on leadership, innovation, history. He told me, Mike, he said, the moment I stop learning is the moment I stop leading effectively. He knew that in this fast-paced world that we're in today, this ever-shifting world of healthcare that we're constantly facing, standing still simply means that we're falling behind. And he knew that. He lived that out. So the question is, are you making growth a priority? Or are you letting the urgent demands of the day, of the crowd, of the people drown out the important work of your own development? Today, we're going to dive into a playbook. I'm going to share 3 things with you. We're going to discuss why feedback is a gift for growth, why prioritizing learning, how to prioritize learning in a packed schedule, and the critical importance of surrounding yourself with people who stretch you to help you grow. So I hope you're ready. I'm grateful that you're joining me. This is what I'm all about. I love talking about this message. Here's the first thing I want you to think about: prioritizing learning amid a packed schedule. Look, as a business owner myself, an entrepreneur working with hundreds of leaders at any one time, we've got right now 50 people within our organization that we're coaching, other leaders within other organizations. Now, I'm not doing all that myself because I wouldn't have time to do this to serve you. We've got other coaches on our team that are able to do that, but trying to drive a business forward, trying to serve more people, my schedule is completely packed. Often I start my days at 7 a.m. in the morning with work and may go till 7. Just last night, I worked until 9 o'clock last night serving other people. And I understand our calendars can be completely full. You're dealing as a leader, you're dealing with leadership challenges, staffing challenges, budget meetings, patient care demands if you're in healthcare, maybe a crisis in the moment. Plus, oh, by the way, you have a family and others that you have to look after as well. It's easy to think, I just don't have time to learn. But what if I told you that you don't have time not to? The most successful leaders I know don't find time for growth. They make time. Look, I'm a John Maxwell junkie. I've been mentored by John. I've read probably most of his books, not all of them. He's written 100. I've not read all of them, but I've been mentored by John. I've spent time with John. I've been on John's faculty with his John Maxwell team. But John said this. I started learning from John when I was 23 years old, so this is over 30 years ago now. But he said this: success is found in your daily agenda. Like, what's in your daily agenda? That's where success is found. Someone else, and I'm not sure who this is attributed to, but said, show me your calendar and your checkbook, your bank account, for those of you who don't know what a checkbook is. Show me your calendar and your bank account, and I'll tell you where your priorities are. Meaning someone can look at our calendar and see where our priorities are. And one of the skills that I teach people in coaching is people how to use a calendar effectively. Everybody has a calendar, but are you using it effectively? Or are you just letting people pile things on it, or Is there lots of white space on it? Like I leave very little white space on my calendar. That doesn't mean it's full of meetings with other people, but it may be full of meetings with myself, going to the gym, studying, working, reading, the things that I need to do to continue my own personal growth journey. See, it's not about dedicating hours every day. It's about integrating learning into the rhythm of your life. This could be listening to a podcast like you're doing now. This is learning. Thank you for that. Continue to do this. Continue to come back to the Lead Up podcast or all the other great podcasts out in the marketplace today. And do it like while you're commuting, while you're on the treadmill, while you're walking outside, while you're in the gym, washing dishes, folding clothes, all of these kind of things. See, integrating into what you're already doing. Using platforms where you can listen to books like Audible or book summaries like Blinkist to get key insights from nonfiction books, books that help you grow a skill, learn something new. The key is to be intentional. Block it on your calendar like you would a critical meeting. If I were to show you my calendar right now, you would see how I do that. If you need some coaching around that, reach out to me. Send me an email, mike@harborresources.com. We've got tools to help you get more effective in that regard. Stephen Covey calls this sharpening the saw in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. By the way, first book I ever read when I was 23 years old. He says we must never become too busy sawing to take time to sharpen the saw. Your skills, your mindset, your knowledge, that's your saw. Neglecting it doesn't save you time. It makes every cut harder and less effective. Here's your question. Are you sawing with a dull blade? How would you recognize that? One of the ways to recognize that in leadership is, do you get easily frustrated with new problems? Do you get the same results from old problems because you haven't learned a new way to hit that old problem with a new idea, a new way to communicate, innovating new technology into ways to solve things? That's just a couple ways to know, like, have you quit sharpening your saw? Have you quit growing? Is the last book you read the day you graduated college? You think, finally I've arrived. Look, I believe graduation is the day to begin to learn. Everything I've learned about leadership came after my college education. You learn theory and maybe in a management book somewhere that's outdated or by someone who's never really led, hadn't been through COVID at that time, right? AI, all the technologies that are out there today, we have to continue to sharpen our saw to get better. If the last time you read a book about growth and leadership, communication, teamwork, all of these things that you have to deal with on a daily basis as a leader, it's time to get started. So this is one way, listening to podcasts. Thank you for being here. The second thing I want to focus your attention on is this importance of feedback for growth. If you truly want to grow, you have to be willing to look at your blind spots. I've often said, if you've listened to my podcast at all, that the number one skill that you need to develop as a leader is emotional intelligence or self-awareness. I'm not going to bore you with my story again, but I had a huge lack of self-awareness early on in my life and my leadership, and I had massive amounts of baggage that I was bringing forward from my childhood that I had to begin to deal with and get feedback from and grow from that. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars. I wish I knew how much. It's probably $100,000 or more in my life. Growing, reading, studying, getting coaching, going to workshops, being mentored by others, being part of mastermind groups. The only way to get honest with yourself about your blind spots and your needs for growth is this constructive feedback that we can get from others, people that are ahead of us. Many leaders fear feedback because they view it as criticism. No one likes that, right? I don't like getting criticized either, but I need this. I do have a bigger need for feedback so I can grow. I have a bigger need to grow than the fear of feedback or criticism that may feel negative. I want you to reframe that, though, when you get that. Feedback is not an indictment of your worth. Like, it's not about you. maybe just a roadmap for your potential. Maybe it's just about the way you delivered something. I love feedback from the podcast. Like if I could do better here, I want to hear that from my listeners so that we can continue to provide a better path for your potential so that you can grow. My personal mission statement or mantra for my leadership is, Michael, when you were made a leader, you weren't given a crown. You were given the responsibility to bring out the best in others, to awaken the potential. And that's what we want to do on the Lead Up podcast and all the other training and coaching that we do as well. So how do you get this feedback? You have to ask for it. You have to create an environment where your team feels safe enough to give it to you. You have to ask for specific questions like, what's one thing I could do better to support you in our team meetings, to support you in your growth, to communicate more effectively with you? Or how could I have handled that difficult conversation more effectively? Like, you have to be willing to ask these questions that maybe you don't want the answer to, but you need the answer to in order to grow and step into an uncomfortable place so that you get more comfortable in the future with these things that you're trying to do. Management expert Ken Blanchard said, feedback is the breakfast of champions. I love that. Elite leaders don't just tolerate feedback. They seek it out. They crave it because they know it's the fuel to get better. When was the last time you actively sought out feedback from your team, from your boss, from your spouse, from your kids, from your coworkers, from those around you? Like I thrive on this. I want it. It's a need for me. I need that feedback, not to pat me on the back and make me feel good. I know I'm pretty good in some areas, but I want to continue to get better and grow. Look, I often think of Michael Phelps, the greatest swimmer to ever get in the water, won more gold medals than any other Olympian in history. And he had a coach because he couldn't see himself swimming, right? He's swimming, but his coach is on the outside of the pool walking up and down that pool as Michael's making these laps, and they're making microscopic improvements in Michael's stroke, the way he enters the pool, when he breathes, the way he kicks. Without that feedback, Michael doesn't become the greatest Olympian ever. Now, certainly he had a drive and he had a skill that no one else had, but he also had a coach that was willing to give him feedback and that he asked for feedback from to help him get better, think better, swim better. What about you? Where are you getting that? And be grateful for that feedback. Hey, thank you for giving me that. Look, I've had some feedback that I didn't like, but it helped me grow. And just being gracious and grateful for that. Hey, thanks for that. I needed that. I needed to hear that. I may not have liked it in the moment, but I want to get better. I get that a lot from my team. I'm pretty aggressive and assertive in my communication style, and often I say things that feel like a punch in the mouth, and I don't want it to feel that way. And I need that feedback when I do that. I don't want my team just to tell me how great I am. I don't want people around me just to tell me how great I am. I want people to give me constructive feedback, not because, I really hurt their feelings, but because I want to grow. I want to know if I hurt their feelings. But I also don't want people to be overly sensitive to the way that things are said to them as well. And look, that's a skill that I'm still trying to learn to develop and overcome some of those challenges in my style. I want you to have that as well. Consider exploring the classic book, Thanks for the Feedback, by Douglas Stone and Sheila Heen, to learn how to become a more skilled receiver of feedback and not take things so personally. Here's the third thing I want to share with you today. We have to surround ourselves with people who stretch us. I can honestly say I would not be who I am today without continually putting myself in an arena with people that were better than me. You want to become a better fighter? Get in the ring with somebody who can kick your butt. You'll learn how to survive, right? But in leadership, we need to be around people who are better than us in leadership, better communicators. Your growth will be a direct proportion to the expectations of the people you surround yourself with. You want to make more money? Get around people who have more money than you. You want to have a better marriage? Get around people who have better marriages than you. You want to be a better communicator? Get around people who are better communicators and speakers than you. We can't be afraid of that. Everything, like today, I consider myself a fairly good speaker, fairly good communicator, maybe a world-class communicator in some respects. But I can honestly tell you, I used to take F's in speech class because I was deathly afraid to get up in front of people and speak. And I do it every single day now. I used to be deathly afraid to record a podcast. I've been recording now since 2019. This is episode 463. I've done 463 of these things for the Lead Up podcast, but many others on other podcasts that I've been on and co-hosted or recorded on probably 1,000 of these by now. How did I get there? Because I put myself in a circle of people that were ahead of me, that were better than me, and I wasn't the smartest or the best in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You're never going to grow. You're going to keep getting the same results that you've always gotten, wanting something different, but you continue to be frustrated. See, elite leaders intentionally build a circle of mentors, peers, coaches who challenge their thinking and push them to grow. Are you doing that? Do you want next year? Look, as I record this, we're coming up on the end of 2025. Do you want 2026 to be better? Just implement this third piece I've shared with you. Build a better circle. Put yourself good. If you want to get more fit, get around more fit people. If that's one of your goals in 2026. Who's in your circle? Like, maybe pause right now and think about that. Who's in your circle? Are they making you better? Or are they keeping you where you are? Now, here's the thing. When you start getting better, you'll have people challenge you in that. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to grow? Why do you want to learn that? Why do you want to be around those people? You're going to have to say no. You're going to have to sacrifice some good things to get some better things. Doesn't mean they're bad people. Look, I've let go of some friends so that I could be around others that I wanted to be around, that are going to pull me toward my goals. Because I have big goals, big dreams in life. Still, even at this age, I'm still pursuing and challenging and growing. What about you? Are you part of a peer advisory group where you can share challenges and get honest feedback? Do you have a coach who will hold you accountable to your goals, to stretch you? Jim Rohn, a master personal development guru who's passed on now, stated once, he said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Look at your circle. Who are you spending the most time with? I'm not talking about your family. Maybe you need to limit some exposure to some folks in your family as well, which I've done. But I'm just talking about those people where you're spending time, you're getting advice from, you're getting feedback from. Are they lifting you higher, or are they in this comfortable status quo place, keeping you there with them? This is a choice, and you have the power to choose differently, to create your own environment, to create your own growth team. Make it a priority to connect with people who won't let you settle for mediocrity. I'm allergic to the status quo, and I'm constantly trying to push myself and others out of that. And that's what this episode is all about. As we begin to push toward 2026, I want you to get allergic to the status quo with me. Look, we can look around the world, and there's a lot of people that are stuck. You're not, because you're listening to this podcast and reading books and studying and getting better. But we also have to understand leadership. In leadership, growth is not a destination. It's a continuous journey. I've been in this journey for over 30 years now, and I'm continuing to learn every single day. I want you to join me in that as well. Hey, if you're interested in joining a community where people are growing and learning and going to that next level, send me a message about my Elite Leader community. We have a community, and you can join it, the initial phase at no cost to you, where we provide resources to help you grow above and beyond the Lead Up podcast. If you want to know more about the Elite Leaders community, let me know. It's something new that we've recently developed. We're committed to making it a great place for leaders in 2026. Shoot me an email, mike@harborresources.com, and let me know, hey, I'm interested in the Elite Leaders community, and we'll send you a link. You can join and see if it's for you. We'll help you set goals. What's a personal growth goal you have for yourself next year? Start working on that now, and then go back and maybe re-listen to this podcast and get the right pieces in place so that you can get there. We can help you in any way. Let us know. Thanks for tuning in to the Lead Up Podcast. I'm Mike Harbour, reminding you that the best leaders are the best learners. I'll see you on the next episode of the Lead Up Podcast.